Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know first, Micron's revenue nearly triples to $24 billion on an AI memory boom, creating a global HBM shortage and an AI tax on electronics. We'll explore how this memory bottleneck is transforming the semiconductor industry and creating ripple effects across the global economy. Second A, 40-year-old quantum encryption theory wins the Turing Award, signaling an urgent defense against future quantum computing threats. Today, we'll take a closer look at this physics-based encryption and its implications for global security in the race against quantum computers. Third, a new Oxford study finds TikTok and Instagram are worse for mental health, blaming their algorithm-driven interest graph designs. So we'll discuss why this platform design difference matters and what it means for business models and user well-being. Fourth, Alibaba's profit plummets 66% in a calculated $53 billion bet on AI dominance, sacrificing earnings for triple-digit growth. We'll analyze why this massive profit sacrifice is a turning point and how it affects China's competitive dynamics in the global AI race. Fifth, Nintendo's new $35 anti-smart toy reveals its new strategy of sidestepping privacy risks while keeping its core console business conservative. In this episode, we'll break down this ambient IP strategy and what it signals for brand engagement in a privacy-conscious market. Let's start with a single statistic that might just change your entire perspective on this company. Its revenue didn't just grow, it nearly tripled in a single quarter. A while back, we asked whether AI had truly broken memory's boom-bust cycle. Today's print is the loudest evidence yet. Micron Technology, a key supplier of memory chips, saw its revenue increase from around $8 billion to over $13 billion, blowing past all expectations. The reason? The world's insatiable demand for NVIDIA's AI processors. Every new generation of AI chip requires more and more high-powered memory, creating a massive supply crunch that Micron is perfectly positioned to exploit. Continuing our last discussion about the new era of multi-year locked-in supply agreements, this is what it looks like when those contracts finally hit the income statement demand pulled forward and concentrated around AI build-outs at a scale we didn't see in prior booms. So the thing is, the specific component everyone is fighting for is called high bandwidth memory, or HBM. Think of it not as a flat single-story chip, but as a skyscraper. HBM involves stacking multiple memory chips vertically and connecting them with microscopic elevators called through-silicon vias. This complex three-dimensional structure allows for lightning-fast data transfer directly to the AI processor. The problem is, manufacturing these memory skyscrapers is incredibly difficult and slow. The demand for HBM is now exceeding supply by almost 50%, and experts believe this bottleneck won't be resolved until at least 2026. We previously noted that this complexity is the root cause of the shortage. HPE CEO Antonio Neri put it bluntly, "We will continue to raise prices because the industry will continue to raise prices. There is not enough supply for demand." Research, we cited, pointed to AI data centers consuming up to 70% of all high-end memory by 2026. And an executive at Seagate warned these price hikes are likely to be the new normal for the next few years. The company's operating margin has increased to approximately 25%. Net income increased from $1.5 billion to approximately $5.2 billion. According to its own CEO, both AI and conventional servers are facing a lack of adequate memory supply, signaling that this shortage is industry-wide and the power is shifting to suppliers. As we flagged a while back, smaller cloud providers and hardware makers are only receiving about 35 to 40% of the memory they request, evidence that negotiating leverage is concentrating among suppliers and the very largest buyers. This shortage is creating a ripple effect across the entire global economy. With memory makers like Micron shifting all their resources to produce that super profitable HBM for AI, there's less capacity left for the traditional memory that goes into our cars, our phones, and our laptops. The result is what some are calling an AI tax. Prices for standard memory have already jumped by hundreds of %, and some analysts are warning that consumer electronics companies could face bankruptcy as they struggle to get the components they need. We've already seen smartphone makers being deprioritized, with average selling prices jumping roughly 14%, a direct pass-through of that AI tax to consumers. After all, this is a fundamental change. The memory business was once seen as a low-margin commodity game. Now, It's a high-stakes battleground where tech giants are locking in long-term contracts just to secure their future. We're seeing a full-scale decommoditization of memory. For decades, memory chips were bought and sold like barrels of oil, with brutal boom and bust cycles, but with AI, companies like Amazon, Microsoft and Google are signing massive long-term deals, treating this specialized memory as a critical strategic asset. We previously analyzed executives declaring the old cycle over. The open question we raised whether AI is truly different or just a much longer, more intense super cycle is now being tested in real time as these contracts stretch years out. As Micron stated in its earnings, it believes it is one of the biggest beneficiaries and enablers of AI. If that was just the appetizer, the main course is just being served. For the current period, Micron is projecting revenue growth of over 200%. To prepare for this tidal wave of demand, the company is making a significant investment, breaking ground on a new fabrication plant in New York. The AI memory arms race has officially begun. And to show just how intense that race is getting, we recently noted Broadcom CEO Hock Tan locking in supply all the way through 2028, while Meta's VP of Engineering Yi-Jun Song said, "We're absolutely worried about HBM supply." That's the scramble in plain sight. This is also a move on the geopolitical chessboard. As we mentioned a while back, the US Chips and Science Act is now directly supporting projects like Micron's, with over $6 billion to build advanced memory plants on American soil. It's part of a national strategy to bring critical semiconductor manufacturing back to the US and reduce reliance on Asia. This puts the US in direct competition with countries like South Korea, which has its own $84 billion plan to dominate the AI chip industry, with giants like Samsung and SK Hynix. The race is on to see which nation will control the physical building blocks of the AI future. And with hardware this scarce and expensive, we're already seeing the flip side we talked about earlier, a wave of lean AI innovations designed to squeeze more capability out of less memory, a software response to a hardware bottleneck that isn't going away anytime soon. We were just talking about the physical bottlenecks in today's hardware. Now, let's shift to a breakthrough in physics that could secure our entire digital future. Believe it or not, the Unbreakable code that could protect the internet wasn't invented in some secret lab last week. It was invented in 1984. And the two men behind it, Charles Bennett and Gilles Brassard, just won the Turing Award for it, widely known as the Nobel Prize of Computing, which comes with a $1 million prize. So why now? The Turing Award recognizes contributions of lasting and major importance. For decades, this was a brilliant but theoretical idea. But now, with the rapid advancement of quantum computing, the threat is no longer theoretical, it's imminent. The award signals that the computing world officially recognizes that the future is here, and we urgently need a defense. Their 40-year-old breakthrough is suddenly one of the most important technologies on the planet. Here's where it gets interesting. Almost all of today's encryption, the technology that protects your banking and private messages, relies on complex math. But a new generation of incredibly powerful quantum computers is coming, and many scientists believe they will shatter that math wide open, leaving everything exposed. This isn't just a theory, it's a ticking clock for global security. Now, this threat has kicked off a crypto civil war. The situation presents a fascinating duality. On one side, you have a software-based approach called post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. This is all about creating new, more complex math problems that even quantum computers can't solve. In fact, the US government is already standardizing these new software algorithms, while on the other, you have the hardware-based approach, which is exactly what Bennett and Brassard pioneered. Bennett and Brassard's method, known as BB84, doesn't use math. It uses the fundamental laws of quantum physics. And the truly remarkable part is that any attempt to hack or even copy their quantum encryption key instantly changes the very behavior of its particles. The act of spying on it makes replication impossible and immediately signals a breach. It's a lock that breaks if anyone but the intended recipient tries to pick it. Now, while the theory is perfect, building it in the real world is incredibly hard. For one, this method has a serious distance problem. Because the quantum signal degrades, you can only send a key about 100 to 200 kilometers before it's lost. To go further, you'd need something called a quantum repeater, which is still experimental. And the cost, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars just to connect two locations. So for now, this is more for securing critical point-to-point links, like between a bank headquarters and its data center, not for protecting the entire global internet just yet. This entire world-changing concept started with a chance meeting at a conference in 1979. A physicist reportedly approached a computer scientist while they were swimming and pitched an idea for a banknote that could never be forged. That single conversation sparked decades of cooperation. That idea wasn't just a random thought either. It was based on a concept from the early 1970s called quantum money, which proposed using the laws of physics to make counterfeiting impossible. That single idea has since blossomed into a whole field of research into what are called physically unclonable functions, or PEFs. The goal is to create unique physical fingerprints for everything from computer chips to luxury goods, making them impossible to fake. Now, the Association of Computer Machinery is calling their work a pathway towards securing digital communications in the decades ahead. The race to build and deploy this technology is already a major geopolitical competition. While this award recognizes an American and Canadian invention, China is arguably leading the world in actually building it. Their Midas satellite, launched back in 2016, has already demonstrated sending quantum-secured keys from space, creating an unhackable link between continents. Experts estimate China has invested over $10 billion in quantum research, far outpacing the United States. This has created what some are calling a quantum encryption gap, with huge implications for national security. This isn't just an academic award, it's a recognition that a theory from the past is now the critical defense for the future. Speaking of how technology shapes our world, a new global study just drew a line in the sand, declaring that apps like Instagram and TikTok are officially worse for your mental health than Facebook and WhatsApp. This bombshell comes directly from the annual World Happiness Report, led by researchers at the University of Oxford, and the findings are hitting at a critical time. In the UK, overall happiness levels have cratered to their lowest point since the report first launched in 2012. The US is also falling behind, landing at 23rd place globally, with no English-speaking countries even cracking the top 10 for the second year in a row. What makes this even more fascinating is that it's not a universal problem. The report found that youth in countries like Lithuania are actually happier than those in the US or UK, even though they have access to the exact same platforms. This suggests that the technology itself might not be the whole story. It seems some cultures have social or community buffers that help mitigate the negative effects, while in Western societies, these apps might just be accelerating pre-existing anxieties. The report draws a clear battle line. On one side, you have platforms driven by algorithm-based scrolling, passive viewing, and influencer content. These are consistently linked to lower happiness and mental health problems. On the other side are the apps that prioritize actual social connection, which are associated with higher life satisfaction. And the two types of apps are built on completely different philosophies. Apps like WhatsApp are built on what's called a social graph. You connect directly with people you already know. It's designed for personal communication, but platforms like TikTok and Instagram run on an interest graph. They don't care who you know. Their algorithm's only job is to figure out what content will keep your eyes glued to the screen the longest. It optimizes for watch time, not human connection. This shift isn't an accident. It's a deliberate business decision. The ad-based business model of these massive companies requires them to maximize your engagement. Research shows that influencer-led broadcast-style content like Instagram Reels is where the ad money is flowing. That's why Instagram has been slowly redesigned to feel more like TikTok. They are prioritizing content that sells ads over content that fosters real social bonds. However, the solution isn't as simple as just deleting everything. Research has found a Goldilocks zone. A moderate use of 1 hour or less per day leads to higher life satisfaction than no social media use at all. The catch is, the platforms are not designed to help you stay in that zone. Features like Instagram's take a break notifications have been found to be largely ineffective. The fundamental design of infinite scrolling is intentionally built to keep you engaged for as long as possible. A platform truly designed for well-being would have to abandon that core mechanic, which is something these companies are not incentivized to do. A single number exposes the real problem. The optimal dose is 1 hour. The average person is actually scrolling for 2.5 hours every single day. This massive disconnect between what's healthy and what's happening prompted one of the report's editors to issue a direct call to action. As Professor Jan-Emmanuel Deneve, director of the Wellbeing Research Centre, stated, the path forward is clear. We need to put the social back into social media and nudge both the providers of these platforms as well as the users to leverage these tools for social purposes and connecting with real people. We were just discussing how business models shape user experience. Now let's look at a tech giant that's deliberately torching its own profits for a massive strategic pivot. In the world of tech earnings, we usually look for growth, but today, the big story is about a deliberate, massive loss from Alibaba. For its latest quarter, the company's net income didn't just dip, it plummeted 66% year over year. A while back, we broke down Alibaba's all-in AI pivot. Today's number is the cost of that choice. This isn't just a dip, it's a calculated dive. Alibaba has committed to investing a staggering 380 billion yuan, that's over 53 billion US dollars, into AI and cloud infrastructure. When we place Alibaba's current state alongside its US rival Amazon, the contradiction becomes clear. Amazon runs its cloud division AWS as a massive profit center with a margin of around 36%, showing just how different their playbooks are right now. The stock immediately dropped on the news. Operational income was down a staggering 74%, but this wasn't a mistake, it was a strategy. The company is intentionally burning cash, making massive investments in AI and cloud infrastructure. We previously analysed the internal shakeup behind this pivot, the unveiling of its Wukong agent platform, and a new token hub business under the CEO, even as some key AI talent walked out. Today's results show the financial side of that reorg hitting the profit and loss. And this race is so high stakes because it's not just about software, it's about hardware. The entire AI revolution runs on powerful computer chips, or GPUs, and the US has put strict export controls on the most advanced ones. This means Alibaba can't just buy the best chips from market leader Nvidia anymore. They're forced to rely on stockpiles and pivot to domestic hardware, like Huawei's Ascend chips, which are powerful but can also be incredibly power hungry. As we've discussed before, that squeeze doesn't just slow models, it inflates costs and power budgets, which helps explain why the spend looks so heavy right now. Alibaba is one of several Chinese firms rushing to catch up to US companies in the global AI race, and it's putting its money where its mouth is, pledging tens of billions of dollars to the cause. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer of strategy at play. While profits are down, their big bet is showing signs of a massive payoff. The company's cloud intelligence group saw its revenue jump significantly. Actually, revenue from their AI-related products has delivered triple-digit growth for the 10th consecutive quarter. As we've highlighted over the past couple of years, that's a long, steady drumbeat of momentum right where they're pouring cash. It's crucial to understand what these AI-related products actually are. We're not just talking about a simple chatbot. Alibaba is betting on something they call agentic commerce. A while back, we talked about how agentic systems could change shopping end to end. Think of MasterCard's push to be the gatekeeper in this new model, and Alibaba wants to own the agent, the aisle, and the checkout inside its own ecosystem. CEO Eddie Wu went on the record stating directly, AI is and will continue to be one of our primary growth engines. The company is transitioning from an e-commerce giant into an AI-first powerhouse, turning chatbots into full-service shopping and payment tools. That vision lines up with Wukong, the agentic AI we covered that can take initiative across the tools you already use. The catch we flagged then still matters. Operating inside Western platforms requires deep data access, which raises security concerns that could limit how global this gets. This represents a huge leap from what most of us are used to. While a tool like Amazon's AI assistant might help you find a product, Alibaba's vision is for an AI agent that can execute the entire task for you. Imagine telling an AI, plan and book a weekend trip for my family to Shanghai. And it doesn't just give you suggestions, it books the flights, reserves the hotel, and pays for it all using their integrated Alipay system without you lifting another finger. That's the end-to-end power they're building, and it's only possible because they control the e-commerce, payment, and logistics platforms. Inside China's super app ecosystem, that kind of loop is uniquely plausible. The core conflict is clear. Alibaba is sacrificing billions in profit today, betting its entire future on becoming an AI leader tomorrow. The question we raised a while back still hangs over this bet. After the internal shakeups and some key departures, can they execute fast enough to turn this burn into durable dominance? While Alibaba is betting its future on a fully integrated, all-powerful AI, another tech giant is making headlines for something completely different. The story begins with a decision that caught everyone by surprise. Nintendo's latest major release isn't a new console or a blockbuster game. It's a $35 talking flower with almost no real functional purpose. That's not an exaggeration. The toy, based on a character from Super Mario Bros. Wonder, doesn't act as an alarm clock. It doesn't connect to your games. It just sits on a shelf and periodically says cheerful things like, so exciting, or feeling pretty great. You pay $35 for what the company calls a drip feed of whimsy. Interestingly enough, that lack of connectivity is a deliberate design choice. This is part of a growing anti-smart toy trend. Parents have become increasingly worried about the privacy and security scandals of connected toys. Remember the My Friend Kayla doll? It was banned in Germany for being a surveillance device. Or the Cloud Pets data breach that exposed millions of voice recordings from kids. Nintendo is sidestepping all of that. This is a key part of what some experts call Nintendo's ambient IP strategy. Instead of building a data-hungry ecosystem like Amazon's Alexa or Google's Nest, Nintendo is placing a physical, non-networked piece of its world right in your home. It's a constant, privacy-safe brand reminder. It's a totally different way to think about brand presence. And if you think that's just a bizarre one-off, you're missing the point. This seemingly frivolous toy is a perfect window into Nintendo's entire modern strategy. This decision brings both benefits and comes with inherent risks. The company is playing it safer than ever with its core products, like the upcoming successor to the Switch. The memory of the Wii U-scale disaster is long, and Nintendo is actively trying to avoid risk on its biggest bets. This is a major shift from their past. The company's weirdness used to be central to its blockbuster consoles, like the Wii's motion controls or the DS's dual screens. But now that experimentation is being siloed. Perfect example is Nintendo Labo, the cardboard construction kits for the Switch. It was an incredibly creative idea, but it didn't meet sales expectations and quietly faded away. The lesson Nintendo learned was to keep the core console business conservative and predictable. What really brought this to a head was the next development. While the main console business stays conservative, the company is letting its weird side run wild everywhere else. This talking flower isn't just a toy, it's a piece of a much larger, carefully streamlined synergy machine. It launched just before a major update for the Mario Wonder game, which itself lands not long before the next Super Mario movie hits theaters. It's all connected. In transmedia strategy, this is called a physical anchor. The relatively inexpensive toy acts as a tangible bridge, connecting the big-budget digital experiences of the game and the movie. It keeps the brand top of mind between major releases. Think about Disney selling custom lightsabers at its theme parks. It's about making the digital world feel real and creating a deeper, more continuous connection with the audience. This reveals a central power struggle inside one of the world's biggest entertainment companies, a high-stakes balancing act. The strategy is now crystal clear. While competitors chase the next generation of processing power, Nintendo is executing a different playbook. Keep the multi-billion-dollar core business protected and predictable, and use everything else, the toys, the movies, the theme parks, to get as weird and fun as possible.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.